St. Louis, what's up, Kathy? You getting ready for Shutterfest next year? I'm going to be at Imaging in January, and I guess WPI in, I want to say March. And then I want to change my photo, then I'll be ready. Oh, Captain Black, you are all over the place. Where's Discord? Opening Discord now. Okay, for those of you who don't know, if you're new to this channel, the Discord link is down below. Once you go to the invite, go to the rules section, make a selection to say okay, basically, and everything else will unlock for you. This is our Discord, our little hood in the corner of the web. This is for us. And by the way, Adorama has a Discord, and so does my boy Dan Norton. All right, Transparent Eyeball, I think you're in the chat, yes? Transparent Eyeball, are you here? Tons of talent there, and I'm learning a ton. That's great, Richard. I'm glad people are. This Discord sometimes gives me life that there's still like a healthy, non-toxic community going on. Transparent Eyeball, you're in the chat. Going once. I know some of you guys have different names in here than in the Discord. He's got a different name here in the Discord. Yeah, I know. Who's Transparent Eyeball? Am I gonna? Yes, Transparent is here if they have a different name on YouTube. All right, Transparent, I'm going to scroll past it. I'm going to go. Don't believe the hype. All camera brands are excellent in the year 2023. It's true. It's amazing. More people need to post in Adorama Discord. I'm true. Okay, we're going to go back to Transparent Eyeball. If anybody sees him, please let him know. I'll go back for him, okay? Let's go up to Brad. I know you're in the chat. Where are you, Brad? Braddy boy. Brad. Where is Brad? Brad, let me open this in a browser. Let me save image as. Let me go to save and let me, oh, it's saved into a dumb folder. Sorry guys, 1 second. Okay, Brad, we're gonna pull up your image right now. I'm gonna go into the Photoshop. That's not your photo. That's not your photo. Sorry, I had to submit that somewhere. This is your photo. Okay, Brad, so, first of all, looks like you're going for some little fantasy context here, and that's cool. I think there's a few things going on here that we need to talk about. One, I think this has been pretty. This is a bit altered, right? This is pretty altered when you got green, the white of the eyes going green like that. So I'm not sure what has been a digital edit and what has. Let me move myself to a place where I am not in the way. Why can't I move myself? Yeah, I can move myself. Okay. So, highly altered. Okay. So, let's talk about the stuff that isn't altered. For one, this is shot pretty much in daylight, right? So, it's very hard to get that feel of what you're trying to get across here. When you're trying to go for that creep factor, the more I can see, the less I can fill in the blanks with my head. And when that happens, you kind of lose the creep and scare and off-putting appeal of things, right? So I think that maybe time of day should have been a consideration here. Maybe even going for something towards like the twilight purple hour of things so that you, and if you couldn't have, I understand that. I'm just giving you some quick feedback to consider for maybe next time. Maybe going for that purple hour might have given you a little bit more of that witchy ambiance that we're looking for. One thing I really have an issue with is just random smoke, especially when it's just like out of nowhere in the middle of like, especially when it's like clumping up in one side of the frame. It just seems like there is no curation to it, and we're just kind of like, yeah, it's there, great. To me, that's the same mentality as let's just throw shadows everywhere. There, it's creepy, and you know I'm not for that, right? As a guy who shoots a lot of special effects and things like that. The other thing I'll say is the framing, her pose is creepy. It's got that spider-like what's going on thing. I totally dig it. But cutting off the hands weird like that kind of makes it feel like either you cropped it this way or you weren't really looking at the framing when you were doing this. I mean, for me, I would have probably stepped back. You know what I'm going to pull out, right? I'm always pulling out the crop tool on you guys. I would have stepped back. Oh, man, I suck at Photoshop, guys. I'm sorry. Let me do my own crop here. And this is not to say that this is where I would do the crop because obviously the aspect ratio is weird. But I would have stepped back, gotten a little tighter, had her pull her hands a little tighter, and then gotten to a place where those eyes are more what I'm looking at. Now you're looking at like a weird, her arms almost look like legs coming over themselves, right? Now imagine this with a darker tone background. Imagine this with a frame that didn't look like it was cropped. And now we're really cluing into her eyes more. Actually, can I make this? Let me see if I can do this. This is gonna be one of those jank edits, guys, but you'll get what I'm saying. Let me see if I can do this. Control C, Control V. Move it over here. Boom. So you move her arms closer, right? Let's do that. Bing, bing. I do like how gaunt and weird they feel. Oh, I see what happened here. Let's do this. Control C, Control V, and move it in, right? We do a little weird crop in there. And then we get back to our crop tool. We go like this. We get a little bit more of a normal aspect ratio, right? You see how like now we're really, really into her face. I don't need necessarily this here. I don't need this clumped up smoke here, you know? And then if we were to, why are my layers like all over? And then if we were to be in a darker ambiance and really light her to make it look like maybe there was car headlights, you rolled up and there's like just blasted car headlights and it's so awkward and just like candid feeling and raw as opposed to, well, it's an overcast sky and I'm just gonna edit some color in her eyes, you know? Getting wide and close is a good solution. Yeah, I'm a fan of getting wide and going close, but in this situation, I just feel like, what was all this giving you? Do we need it? I might have even gone as far, if you really wanted to go farther, I would have wet down this wood, made it feel like you're in an uncomfortable environment, get that wood like wet, darker, right? Not so dried out, maybe. It just rained. Doesn't feel so safe when it's wet for some reason. Like it's less comforting. You wouldn't sit on that log if it was wet, right? Are you guys with me? You guys are not talking and I feel weird about this. I feel like I just talked way too much about global shutter, but it is what it is. Anybody? Brad, you there? Am I even live? Her and I got together at night a few weeks later, and it was much better. Yeah, so I'm glad it makes sense, and you know, I think there's just way. And keep in mind, you could play games like this. Don't forget, instead of doing just this, which is a cool pose, it's nice and creepy. But imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine that. A little more. Let the eye travel, right? You know, imagine that, right? Start getting that eyeball to rip through the lens and the frame and get to where we want them to go. And then you've got to decide when you're shooting, where do you want them to go? Well, for me, like most people, I want them to go right here, right in those eyes, right? You like the wet log idea? It's subtle little context like that. Also, this is going to be a really nitpicky thing. Her hair is too beautiful. If she's coming at me with some demonic demeanor, she is a little too like pretty for me. Here's what I would have changed look-wise. This is a trick that we use in FX all the time. Take shampoo, get it in the hair, clump it tight, and then let it dry. No water. It'll get heavier, it'll give her that grease appeal, it'll clump up the hair, it'll look like she's been living in that forest for a little longer. Then maybe, just a thought, you get some mouthwash and food coloring and you just get her to spill out like a dark blue down her mouth and down her chin, like this. And then, whoa, she's in character for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Background, I was assisting, of course. I just like the pose and stuff in front of everyone. No, I get it. It's always like, hey, I got a quick shot. These are just add-ons, you know, things to throw in the back of your head, you know? Don't bathe for 2 weeks. So, you know, it's hindsight's 2020, right? Oh, and don't forget, you needed to shoot this with a global shutter. There was no other way to get this shot. You had to, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Mwah, just kidding. All right. But it's fun. It's a cool shot. I'm glad you had some fun with it. Just some things to think about. If you have the chance to, you know, add to a shot, always add to it, right? Always try to get that next level, you know. And I just there's just something to me about like these random, just like yay smoke, yay fog. Kathy Brown will tell you one of the things I hammered down at my demos and trade shows is context. What's the story? Why is that in the frame? What made that happen in that frame? What caused that? So what is that, a fire that went out behind her? Is she lighting incense for some ritual? Like, I don't know. But as the viewer, it just seems like, it's there on the right, you know? Actually, you know what might have been cool? Let me see something. Maybe if we did a little awkward asymmetrical, and then our hand was like right here maybe. Like right here. That could have been cool too, you know? So that's where I'll leave that. Brad, is that fair? All of that fair, buddy? You got critiqued by Joe McNally in 2015. Don't take it personal. You cannot take critiques personal. Also, you have to remember, this is just my point of view. I am not the end all. You could show your images to 10 different photographers or editors or art directors and get 10 different viewpoints on it. And someone might be like, you know what, this is awesome. I'll take it right now. You know, so, you know, there's always something we can talk about, right? I was thinking of incense or fire or potion behind her. Well, if it was incense, I might have rather her hold it and then kind of build the smoke in her hand maybe. So she'd be like, let me get a pen. So she's holding the incense and she's doing this and it's kind of like building up in her hand and you're kind of watching her just play with the incense. Then it gives context to the incense, you know? So that's where I'm gonna leave that one. We're gonna let's get to the next one. I feel like I'm gonna be here all night. I feel like I'm gonna be here all night. Everybody, rain of emotes for Brad in the chat. Thanks for submitting. Always a team player over there. Very active guy in our Discord. I'm very thankful for members like this. All right. Hey Ken, what's going on, buddy? Where in the world are you right now in that giant truck of yours? All right. Captain Black, you're next, but did you say you wanted to change yours? Or did you swap that particular one out? Which is where I went with the next shoot, had her looking at the cauldron. There you go. Boom, see? Home for a while. All right, that must feel good, being home. Captain Black, did you... I got this as your next one. Is this the one you want me to go over? And also, Transparent Eyeball, are you in the chat? Because I've got one that I skipped over for you, buddy. Swap it out and use the one I posted at the bottom. Let me take a look. Skateboarder? This one? The one with the skateboarder? All right. Let me grab this one. Like we do with all the ones. Save image as. Bada bing. Let me go to here. Let me go to the Photoshop. The Photoshop. I cannot find your image. Hang on. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since I did these. I'm a little rusty since I've done critiques. I apologize. All right, here we go. All right, so we've got awkward guy standing on skateboard in a dark environment. First of all, I will say I enjoy the rim light. It's a nice separation, sure. But now I have to go from what am I looking at and why? And I think you probably would have been better off having him maybe seated, having the skateboard closer. You could have had it sitting, skateboard upright, him leaning on it. All you need is like a part of the skateboard, just like the beat up deck and like a wheel here or something like that. You didn't have to worry about getting the entire board in there. But here, I've got so much empty space here that if this was for a layout, sure. They need room for words. Awesome. Let's do that. If we got to go, hey, I skate. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. I skate. I can't type. Look at this. Right? Now we got our layout going. Look at this. Boom. We're making a whole magazine layout here. Huh? Look at this. Hey, look at us. Magazine layout right there. Bada bing. But if not, then we're giving this image a hard time as far as all I know about this guy is that he skates. And I've got a lot of black empty space for me to just kind of get lost and not really care too much. Right? So I don't think the lighting on him is too bad. I think I do like the... All right, let's just see what this looks like as just a straight up portrait without the skateboard in there, right? Let's just see what we're working with here, right? So now, if you take the lighting on him alone, there's no reflection on the glasses. Great. I can get a sense of his style. Cool. He looks awkward as hell, so I get a sense of him as a person. Sure. But if you're trying to get in that skater thing, it's not there, right? Here, when we go to this, all I'm getting from this is that we were in some sort of street somewhere, and that's about it. I think if you were doing this for a specific layout, a specific framing, a specific, some sort of media, I get it because you're going to fill in that black space, right? I do this all the time for the magazine where they were going to put the story like in that black space. For me, it looks like I'm just hanging out with a guy at night and there happens to be a skateboard there. What tells the story of a skateboarder, right? Worn out shoes, the beat up deck, right? How avid of a skater is he? Maybe he's just like a guy that messes around, just skates to work and doesn't really skate. But the condition of the board will tell me that. Or the choice of graphics that he has. Or look at this. Here's a detail that I'm wondering about. What does he have on the grip tape? What is this insignia? Is it a company he owns? I don't know. But I kind of want to know now. It's just, there's so much that didn't connect him to skating here that I think is the issue. So you could have even done something where we do the cheesy one where they're on the deck's on the shoulders. But typically what I probably would have done was have him sit, get the deck on his knees maybe, stand it upright, maybe put the deck under his feet that way, and then you have a squared up shot where his face is only a couple of feet from that deck. Here, they're 6 feet away from that deck, his face, right? So connecting him to that board, it's a long shot, right? I mean, look at this. There's a portrait of a skateboard, right? And then here's a portrait of a dude. Two different frames going on here, right? You know, so there's things you have to think about. And yeah, when we're shooting a portrait of someone and they're doing something that we might not be a part of, like if you don't skate, you might not know. But kind of dig into it a little bit. What have you always recognized from skaters, right? A lot of the times we shot riders back in the day, you had to get the scars. You had to show today's scabs on the shins, you know, something like that. Here, he's going for a way more clean cut look, and that's fine. But if that's the case, maybe put him in an environment that he's known for. If he owns a company or needs a headshot for something that he's doing, maybe go where he does the majority of what he does in this world. Put that skate deck on his office desk next to his work computer. Show me how beat up that deck is in comparison to this clean Mac he has to work on. You know, show me this guy's life. You know, this isn't a studio shot, so we have to give him an environment that will tell us what this guy's about. And here you're giving me literally no environment outside of a little bit of asphalt. So if you can get me into a place with him that he's known for being at or spends most of his time at and throw the deck in there, it would make more sense to me. And see how I'm just making up stories about this guy? Because I don't know anything about him. And I can't know anything about him except he bought a nice jacket for this shot. You know? I mean, are his shoes even beat up? Or is he wearing like nice new shoes for this shoot? Looks like he's wearing nice new brand new shoes for the shoot. Yeah, those are new shoes. Look at that. Look at this guy. He was like, I'm going to keep it real. Nah, he decided to get all spiffy for the shot, you know? Listen, you can like the shot. It's your shot. You totally made choices to get to this place. But if you're going to present it to me as someone who knows nothing, I still don't know anything about this guy. I kind of get the idea that he skates, kind of. But it definitely is in this weird limbo between a curated shot and the environment that this guy is. He's so, clean cut and well dressed in new shoes and a brand new deck, as opposed to really what this guy is like when he skates, what his board is like, how beat up his clothes might be. I don't know a skater on earth that has clean cut clothes. You are hitting the ground and you are scuffing some things up for sure. So these are just things to think about. You got to make a choice. Are we going to go for that curated clean shot? And if so, give it some more of that editorial context. He could be in a complete, black tie suit and doing a kickflip, and that would still be a curated look, but he's still being who he is. Or he could be in the environment he's in and mixing in this street world that he's part of. I don't know. But you see how much I don't know from the image is meaning it to me says something's not connecting for a viewer without you telling me what this guy's about. So what was this shot about, if I can ask Captain Black? I feel like I'm going a little too hard, but I hope it's all in love, all out of love, kid, I mean, you definitely made a nice job of isolating him if that's what you wanted. You know what I would have liked if you were going to go this route? If this is the way you wanted to shoot this, you know what I would have liked? I would have liked if you just shot it in the street light or made it look like it was street light. High up, drop down, give him that context that he's just by himself on that suburban block, practicing some kick flips in that one street light. And then that gives me more, He was trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out rim lighting, and he offered me my guinea pig. Well, there you go. I don't know context, but this looked like you were trying to do a portrait. All right? All right. I'm going to leave that there. Everyone, rain of emotes for Captain Black for submitting. We're always grateful for participation from the crowds. Whew, man, I'm already sweating. This has been, I hope that was fair, Captain Black, but I think the most you can get out of critiques are listening to someone's thought process while they're looking at your work. It's not just the tips or the suggestions or the feedback, but it's seeing how someone ingests what you're giving them, because that's going to tell you how people interact with what you're putting out there in the world. You can still submit. I just don't know if I'm going to get to it, just to be fair. So, All right. The next one, I'm going to go back to where we were because we kind of cheated there. That was Captain Black. Tyler, I know you're in the chat, right? Do you want me to go over this? Hey, what's up, Jacob? Been a while. All right. Where's Tyler? You still in here, buddy? Going once. Going twice. All right, where to submit? Right over here. Share images for live critique in the for a live review in the Discord. All right. I definitely have plenty, but this one looks a little bit more of a grab shot considering what I know of you, But we'll go over it. All right, here we go. Let me go to Photoshop, and let me pull up this. Okay, so I think the biggest, wait, is this really the resolution it gave me? Or is this just motion blur? Oh, that's like a blur, huh? Oh, I see. Okay, so that's my issue then. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, Tyler. At first, totally thought this was just a standstill shot. And now that I'm looking at it, we can see a little bit of motion blur going in there. And I totally thought this was just the park there. And you're like, yeah, nice. This is a cool car. You know what I'm going to say to this? I need a lot more motion blur. This is a checkered flag, homie. I need to feel that checkered flag. So I think you're kind of at the mercy of the speed of the car with your pen, but you could also slow down that shutter considerably in order to get that blur to be more drastic. I'm working at the race for that team. Nope, the car is going. That's 120 miles per hour. Let me ask you honestly, Tyler, does that feel like 120? Does that feel like 120 miles per hour? some YouTube photographers are against them. We need them regardless of what they say. I don't know what their argument about not doing critiques are. I mean, we all have our line in the sand of what we won't do. Personally, I hate this like shootout battle format where like one photographer versus another photographer or whatever. I hate that whole format. So that's, I guess that's my line. But the critiques, I feel like, how can you offer any sort of education or point of view on something if you're not willing to share how you view images to an endpoint, right? So that's where I look at it. That said, Tyler, does this look like 120 miles per hour? Not really, right? I think what we needed, while we have the checkered flag there and stuff like that, I don't think it's that crazy. Let me see if I can do this. Where is it? Is it under? Yeah, let's do this. Actually, I don't even think I can. Watch me completely wreck my computer doing this. Yeah, I don't like that. I tell you what, I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to do with a selection, and I'm going to select this car. The magical AI that's going to ruin our lives. And then I'm going to filter, I'm going to go select inverse, and I'm going to put a filter on. I'm going to blur. Well, let's do motion blur. Let's do a fake motion blur. And does that look a little more like it's going 120? You know, I need to invest in ND filters to slow the shutter. And no to your question. Yeah. So there's the one thing you're going to sacrifice is people recognizing that there's a checkered flag there. But if you notice, no one ever really looks for those shots. They're always looking to just see the car in a performance mode, right? So this is where it was. This is where I put it as far as even this. Like when you get this right here, this little shadowy motion blurry thing is awesome. You know, if you were going for the checkered flag is there, to me, the checkered flag shot is a completely different angle. It would be over up here, shooting this way, where I see the checkered flag and then the car that won, personally. You've broken the matrix with it trying to process. Yeah, yeah. You know, so for me, if I were to make that checkered flag part of this image, I would want it to be more prominent, closer to lens somehow. So in which case, that's where I would try to position myself to get those types of shots with the checkered flag, where it would be more, if this was a frame, checkered flag here, like this is the actual frame. You are the camera. Checkered flag about here, right? Checkered flag, car that won, tail lights over here, right? Or just underneath that checkered flag. And maybe this is the motion blur, right? And this is nice and stable. You know, different storytelling, right? So it's tough because when you're shooting cars and racing, you can only get so many angles. And, you know, guys like Jamie Price have a magic to that, right? But you kind of have to figure out how to tell those stories of who won, what were the rivalries, what were the issues, what was the challenges that some of these drivers overcame, blah, 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 you know? Is that fair, Tyler? I love shooting motion blur in action sports. My personal rule of thumb is miles per hour equals shutter speed. Typical go to the shutter speed in biking or skiing is 1/30th. All right, well, that's a starting point, I guess. You also can't always know what someone's going at speed-wise. You're not looking at a speedometer and all these guys, you know? All right, let's go down. Formica Photo, I think I saw you in here. Formica, are you in here with your bootleg crow? Well, Kathy, get cranking. Your homework assignment is to shoot motion blur. Get on it. Oh, man. This chair sucks. Okay. Rich from Micah, you are here. Okay, so let me open this up. Let me save it, image as, hit save. Let me go to the blah, blah, blah. Let me go to Photoshop and let me drop it in there. All right, bootleg croak coming in here. Okay, let's talk about this. So while we have a nice, so this is a recognizable figure, right? For most people, we know. Oh, let's give Tyler a round of applause. Sorry, Tyler, you're such an OG veteran that I forget that you deserve as much encouragement. Give Tyler a bunch of emotes and claps and stuff. I'm sorry, Tyler, my bad, buddy. Tyler's a soldier out there, so I don't baby him, you know. All right, so this is a recognizable figure, so we have to give them the context that matches. We have to make people feel like this is who we're shooting. And I feel like you went for that with the wrought iron and the gate and all that. The problem I'm having here is I'm not connecting at all. In fact, my eyes are going right here to this bright spot where this fog's going on, and I'm not even caring what's happening here with this guy. I don't know if you lit this. I don't know if there was just atmosphere going on there or whatever. But as far as face value goes, I really can't, I can't find a place for me to sink my eye into this on this. And it's a tough one because the most recognizable part of this character is by far the face paint, right? And we're getting just enough of it to show me that that's who's there. However, had this have been something that was shot more like this, and you wanted to show the gate, all I need is half the face and that eye, right? So now imagine, actually not that. So now imagine we have enough of the wrought iron, half his face is covered by it, and the other half he's staring straight through us. And then we're getting this idea that he's behind a gate. We see the brick, that's enough for me, and he's burning through us. Not that everyone always has to look at you for every shot, but in this frame, it's really difficult for the viewer to not get caught up over here constantly. I mean, you're talking about all this dark, empty negative space here that's not doing much. And even if you wanted to keep this, right? Even if you wanted to keep this frame like that, you could have, this is such a bad crop, but you'll get what I'm going for here. You could have given me this, which I'm way more to connect with than this. Watch the difference, watch. I'm not dealing with super bright over here, empty dead air that's just lit, right? But I do think that the repeating lines of the wrought iron might have been the play. And I do think that maybe just half of him might have been enough to sell that makeup. And then just burning through us might have been nice. And what could have been cool was the highlight part could have been the rim light around his hair. It could have been just burning around, right? Similar to this, where you've got this going on here, right here. Now imagine that, but over here, surrounding him, right? Actually, can I do it? Let's see. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if Photoshop is super smart like they tell me it is. Let's see if it goes, it's gonna grab the bars, I bet, watch. No, hey, look at that, all right. Control C, Control V, and then what I'm gonna do is go to this layer, and I'm gonna give him a fake as hell outer glow. Whoa, hello. That's not what I wanna do. Get out of here with this. Outer glow, and we're gonna give it a little bit. I hate it, but you get what I'm saying? Like we outline him. Forget this part, actually. Oh, I know what I can do. I'll do this. We'll make it less, we'll make it super soft. We'll take the opacity there. No. How do you change the, yeah, something like that. Okay, whatever, fine. And then we'll just erase the snot out of this stuff. Oh, wow, I've made a complete mess here. Now imagine you had that rim light around it. This is horrible. Horrible edit, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Imagine that was the rim, right? I think the problem that you're going to run into with recognizable characters is that people expect exactly what they know of that character. So when you give me the Crow, we're stuck in that rainy city, contrasty light, deep shadows. So when you give me something like this, yeah, it's in a setting, but as far as of an image that you're curating to give to me, it's just not hitting, right? I mean, I would have even liked to have seen more of the trench coat. Maybe step back, show me how tall he is in relation to that gait. Maybe he can be a silhouette and just enough of the clown makeup shows through, you know? I always joke that light, it's easier to fix light. It's easier to light than fix in post, probably. You know, just imagine, it's funny, if you did this shot without the key light, right, full length, with the whole gate showing all that wrought iron, and then this rimmed out, long-haired, Undertaker-looking dude, and then maybe the clown makeup would have still shown because it's white, just enough, just a hint. Don't give it to me. Let me work for it. That might have been the image, you know? Here, I think all this fogged out is really pulling me away from this context. I can't even... There's too much in the way that I'm not connecting with what I know the Crow is. Give me the ambiance of him. Give me that noir. Give me that nuance of the Crow, you know? I really struggle with when to submit for the shoot. I do have those next time. Listen, part of submitting to a critique is you guys editing yourselves down, you know? I have given up on editing myself down. If you notice on Instagram, I give you guys like reels of hundreds of images from one shoot because I'm like, here's all the shots. And I also do that as like a little bit of a flex to be like, I didn't just get one shot, look at a million shots, you know, but whatever. Also doesn't help that the background is lighter than the foreground. Whatever the case, right? I just think that there was another way to get the character of the Crow across, and this might not have been it. But I think showing the weight of that jacket, right? That heavy trench coat weight of that leather jacket that's just hanging, right? The hair scrolling down, right? The dark that's happening, the feel of that cold, hard, rigid metal that's separating us from him, but he's still staring through us like he can get to us. You know, give me that. Give me these emotions. Give me that feel. Give me that little creep chillness in the back of my spine. You know, I think sometimes the environment can be the portrait a little more than the person themselves, because the environment says as much about them as them, and you have to kind of find that balance point sometimes, you know. I mean, the Crow is aging most of us. How many here actually watched the movie? Oh, please. The Crow is, first of all, Sting from WCW kept the Crow alive way longer, okay? I don't know who could play the Crow now, though. If they redid the Crow, I have no idea who I would throw in there. I think that's what happened here. This was a stage. Okay, that's even better. So it's a controlled environment, and you could really mess with it. Imagine it with that haze and almost full-length silhouette and still be able to make a bit of his makeup. Just like, exactly. Just let me work for that face. That white makeup is going to show in those shadows a little bit no matter what, right? Let me work for it as a viewer and go, wait, is that, oh my God, that is the Crow. Oh yeah. And then the trench coat makes sense. And then the atmosphere makes sense. And then the environment makes sense. And the gate makes sense, you know? So, you know, that's where I'm at. And keep in mind, man, I live in character, right? I live in shooting all this type of stuff all day. So my mindset is constantly in there, you know. But if you gave me something that's not something I shoot every day, it might take me an extra few minutes to get to a place where my mindset matches the subject. You know, it happens. It totally happens. Is that fair, Rich? So anyway. Yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that one. Everyone give a rain of emotes for Rich in the chat. I want to thank him for participating tonight. Are we already an hour deep on this? Wow, okay. All right. Bill Skarsgård will be the new Crow, I think. What's with that dude and Wait, isn't that the guy who did Pennywise? Bill Skarsgård is Pennywise, right? Is he like the clown guy now? Is that what we're gonna deal with? Am I wrong? Who played Pennywise? The new Pennywise? I should know this stuff. First of all, It Part 1, the remake, was awesome, and It Part 2 was not. I was not into Part 2. Is it just me? He was Pennywise. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. All right, let's go back to the Discord. Wow, it is getting hot in here. I haven't had like the full setup blazing in a while. I feel like I'm shaking some rust off here. Let me see what I'm doing here. I lost the Discord, guys. Okay, here we go. All right, is Richard B in the chat? First of all, before I go forward, sorry, Richard, is Transparent Eyeball in the chat? I know you were the first one I called up. Transparent Eyeball going once, going twice, 3 times. All right, we're gonna go to Richard B. Richard B, you're in the chat. I see you. I see you. All right, let me open this guy up. Let me save it. Let me see. Let's open this up in the Photoshops. Yeah. All right, guys. Here we go. I gotta tell you, this is a really nice image. I think you did a good job here. One of the things I do appreciate about it is that he's actually like interacting with the lights, because so often we see this setup and you could easily just think it's like a composite, which I gotta tell you, I am not a guy for composites. I'm not a composite guy. But I will say I do actually really like that he's interacting with it. You know that environment is there. He sells the look, right? He's got that Rockstar. Like, this is not a typical thing you would find out there in someone's home, right? No, this is absolutely a Rockstar meetup. Rockstar, I just said meetup because I just read the words. This is absolutely a Rockstar setup, right? So he's dressed up appropriately for that. This was actually a trade for photo meetup. God, man. Ugh. I'm tired, guys. I'm so tired. This week has been just a beast. And I got to get ready for London in another week, so I'm like, nah. The only thing I kind of wonder, just see what it looks like. Let's see what happens if we pull down the blacks a little bit, which I kind of like a little more. I get that we got this haze, and that's fine. But just a little bit of blacks, I think, would have been nice to get a little bit more definition out there. It has that matte look to it, and I'll tell you this. Let's say if you actually got prints of this, you probably would see that exacerbated, the matte milkiness to it, which I don't know if you would have been. If you just tuck those darks down just a little bit. I had a 1/8 black. Yeah, I could tell you had a filter on it, but here's the filter, this bloom that's going on. So like this blooming action you got going on here. Why do I have the biggest cursor on earth right now? This right here, that's the filter. Sure, right? I kind of don't like that I see this wall, but I also don't care at the same time. Either way, if you look at the difference, right? You see how like I'm a little bit more sucked into this image, and this might even be a little bit too much on the blacks. It's so either one's fine. I'm not hating. But if you see when you pull down those darks, you get that real rich feeling to it. And I think especially when we're scrolling through things or making prints, this gets a little too milked up and a little too monotone. And then this will give you that little bit more of a, oh, yeah, get into my image, raw. You know, and you'll even see more definition in his hair. You'll see it on the shirt a little bit. Overall, it's a cool, successful image. I dig it. I'm sure he loved it, you know, without a doubt. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. I like the warm tones, the whole thing, the whole vibe. My only thing that I'll say about this, Richard, is this is absolutely just like it almost feels like a setup you would see at those places that will charge you, like a peer space that's meant for Instagram. Like it's set up there for this shot. So I guess if this is that case, and I don't know if it is, but if that is the case, I would urge you to try to find a way to use it differently than the way everybody else uses it. Because after a while, it's just the same types of shots we're seeing over and over again. Remember how Instagram was all about smoke bombs for a while, and then for a while it was all about those prisms, and then for a while, like there's always these things. Like, find a way to get differentiated with this setup, and I think that would have been the challenge. 100% peer space. It's expensive, so not many locally use it. Right, but here in New York, I'll tell you, a lot of people use these things. So my challenge to you is find the way to use this setup, not the way everybody else would use this setup. And I'll tell you a way that I would use it. Do you guys want to hear a way that I would use this non-conventionally? I think you'll hate it, but at least I know it wouldn't be the typical. Orange and blue, cool trends. So to use this maybe a different way, instead of head on, go on the side of them, and then maybe use a mist and let those lights form like a cone beam, and use those beams to create some sort of space, to create some sort of geometrics in the frame. So instead of it being like, here's my light, it would be like this, and then you would get a cone of light spraying out, and an atmosphere spray would actually get you that as well. I have a few shots from the side with the other models. Miranda canned. But I'm trying to say is, like, instead of getting the shot with the model of that, maybe get them farther away. Okay, I'm not explaining this right. Hang on. All right, so this roll of purple gaff tape is the light source, right? You're shooting it this way. It's going like this. Now you back up and let the cones of light do the framework, right? Let that be your geometrics, and then figure out ways to pose the model in there that works with, 3 cones converging together. Does that make sense? Either way, that's just off the top of my head, but this is like one of those deer in headlight face type of setups. So I urge you to find a way to not use it as such. Kind of, Jacob. The way Gavin does that, yeah. Actually, do I have a flashlight? Yeah, I'm not going to do this. All right. Fair. So I think just giving us a little more definition than this would have been nice to see a little bit of a cleanup. And that's about it. All right, guys. Richard, let's give Richard a bunch of emotes. Thanks for submitting. Man, I'm losing my voice already. Woo. Woo. All right, let's see who's next. How's this going so far for everybody? We cool? Everybody feeling this? Are we happy? Or is this boring? If you're in this chat, hitting like would definitely help me out. If you guys like this channel, hit like. If you're new here, hit subscribe, please. I want to get to 30,000 before the end of the year, and I am like 400 away from that. So I am beyond grateful for you guys for sticking with me. And let's keep going here. If I get to 30,000, I know that's like nothing in YouTube world. You got guys out there with 1.5 million, or people getting past 100,000 for the silver play button but for me, it's a lot. And hopefully this channel turns into something that holds a little more weight out there in this industry, so it actually means something a little bit, All right, where are we going? Jaded Writer, do you want me to, Jade, do you want me to go over this? I know you kind of don't care sometimes, but do you want me to go over this? Let me know. Yeah, I mean, look, I hope I reach, yeah, sure, okay. I hope I reach 30K. I don't think it's out of reach. I mean, we're a few hundred away. I've doubled the channel in 30 days, so I'm hoping it's not that hard to get there. I do think at some point it's just not going to grow anymore, but what do I know, right? Let's go over to Photoshop. Let's pull this in here. Fuji boy over here with his Fuji shooting the girls. All right, was this an engagement session? Because I'm seeing a rock right in my face right there. it's a cool shot. You know, what am I gonna say? She's dressed nice. She looks great. The colors are there. They're nice and natural looking. You don't have too much of a shadow from the brim. You've got movement in the hair, even though it's not moving. I know you love that shallow bouquet. But no, she's been married for a bit. Well, she's shoving in my face. She's saying, Seth, don't hit on me. Look, she's going, Seth, don't hit on me. Don't hit on me, Seth. Look, she's literally saying it right there. She's saying, watch, she's going. She's going. Oop, what am I doing? She's saying, don't hit on me. See, right there, right? So let me put that right there, and then we'll do this. There's your shot right there. Boom, done. Look at that. Boom. Look at you. Look at you. You nailed it. You nailed it, buddy. Marcus, killing it. Look at you, man. Boom. She's like, All right, so there's really not much to say here. Look, it's a very orchestrated shot. You know, we're not looking for candid here. We're looking for just like a nice, not boring portrait that's got some life to it, right? And that's exactly what you gave me. About the only thing I'd say is, if you're gonna do stuff like this, I'm gonna get you nitpicked to a point where I'm gonna say, get a small lint roller and keep it in your bag. I know we're at a place where we can like Photoshop this pretty quickly, but if you have a client that sees you going that little extra and knows you're going to be saving time and you're noticing the little things like this, you build a lot more trust with your clients. Not saying that you don't. This is nice though. I dig it. I never even noticed that till after the fact. Exactly, because you're a filthy human being, Marcus. You don't even think about this stuff. No, but seriously, just stupid things like that. You know, watch the flyaways a little bit. I'm not the biggest stickler for like, oh no, there's a hair in front of the face, but everything else in this shot is so like orchestrated that, you know, you got to watch, you know, come on, get me over that finish line a little bit. DP Review's worst lens of the year shot that. Oh, the 50mm f1. Hey, I like that lens. I shot that lens. That video is probably one of my favorite videos. The Fujifilm f1 video with the broken monitors. Probably one of my favorite videos. That said, yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say here. You know, it's a hallmark shot. This is what they would put inside of the picture frames to sell them at Target. You know, I mean, what do you want me to tell you, buddy? It's you know, it's a clean shot. You know, you're not, you know, this isn't some Mona Lisa stuff. This isn't, you know, Jackson Pollock stuff over here. This is just like a nice clean shot. So, you know, nice job. And I would expect nothing less from a guy that shoots as much as you know. I need an assistant that pays attention to that stuff. Please. No one can tolerate you enough, you know. But I will say, this is actually a really nice representation if you wanted to show someone engagement shots. This feels like a ring ad to me. In fact, if you did crop in, you could make it a ring ad. You know, if you made it more about the ring a little bit. Let me see. You could make this like an engagement ring ad. Be like, oh, Zales, or what's a jewelry store? I don't even know anymore. When's the last time I had to buy jewelry? Give me a break. You know? Look at that. Zales! Hey! You know? So this is actually pretty nice shot for you to go and show jewelry stores, jewelry brands, maybe like a local jewelry brand, like a smaller designer or something, and show them something like this. You'd be surprised. You'd really be surprised. You'd be surprised where you could take shots like this to then further your client list. Really, you know. I am kind of wondering, is there a crop that does this as not? Nah, not really. Trying to get it like super, like all about the ring. Let me see. She's like, look at my ring. I'm gonna give you a knuckle sandwich if you hit on me. Roar, roar, don't hit on me. You know. But yeah, I would definitely think about using this as something for that type of thing, engagement work, maybe for a jewelry designer, maybe even some things even for like someone who does like knit work. Maybe show them stuff like this. You can get work if you start realizing that the shot is more than just this girl that you photographed. You know. All right, I'm gonna leave it there because it's fine, man. You know, it's fine. It's fine. Good job, Marcus, as always. Give him a rain of emotes. Man, did I lose you guys? I feel like this chat room's dead. All right. Photog E. Are you in the chat? Is that you, Eric? Photog E? My ENG guy? This you, boss? Is this you? Yeah, okay, cool. Let's do this. Because I got some stuff to say about this Dane Cook impersonator over here. Let's take a look at this guy. Dane Cook over here. Let's go take a look at Dane Cook. Here we go. All right, let's do this. All right, so a few things happening here that are kind of bugging me, buddy. First of all, whenever we're doing portraits of people and environments, we have to realize that lines are going to be in it. We have to keep in mind of the lines behind our subject, and having a rod go right into someone's face and then having it being so dark behind him where it's kind of not an issue. It's for me a little obnoxious as far as getting a shot here. The light on him, I kind of like it. It is a little fade to darkish. Having said that, I would have moved him. If you're clearly lighting him and he's there for you a little bit, move him to a different environment or watch that background a little bit. Now, the thing you got going on here is the shutter drag that's happening down here. That's cool. Then own it. Maybe drag that shutter so long that all this turns into is a bunch of shutter drag. In fact, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. Totally murder this. Control C, Control V, V. Oh, why does that happen? There we go. And then let's do more of this. And then let's do Control C, Control V, and we'll do more of this. And Control V. And I'm going to grab him because it's all I know, man. Let me see. Come on. There we go. Control C, Control V. I'm going to put this on top. And then just like own it. You know what I mean? Like own that this is what he's next to and give it some dynamic. And then maybe shoot towards it. You know, that's an option. But in reality, I think the whole thing is that the background isn't telling me what city he's in, where he's at. Is it important to him? Is there some reason he's taking this shot out by this highway? I don't know. You know? Where are we at? Wow, you guys are going for it. I remember high school photography class where the teacher said, watch out for Carmen Miranda effect. Watch out for stuff growing out of their heads. Yeah, there's that. But the reality is, even just kind of simplifying it might help. And then, what if I did this? Look at just that edit, right? And then you know what I kind of want to do is, so I kind of want to bring out those shadows a little bit. Let me open up those shadows a little bit. Why is this not working? It like decides when it wants to work. There's no data in there, but just that edit, right? And maybe a little bit over here. Let me open up this, bada bing this. Right? So, too much. But you get what I'm saying, right? So this is where you were. Bunch of dead space in front of him, right? And then look how much more I'm connected to him just by not having that rod go into his face. Now, what I would have liked to have seen is maybe him facing, okay, so his back to the fence, and then the cars just going. And let those cars be all streaky lights, hit him with the strobe, and then you've got a dynamic background. I can like hear the cars in my head. I can feel the air on top of that highway. So it would have given him a little bit more of a context of where he is, as opposed to random building and maybe some roads back there. You know, I wanted to try something. He's a reporter I work with. I know about the fence, and it bothered me as we were shooting, but I wanted to critique to hear what I could do better. Yeah, and that's all I'm giving you. Is like, I probably would have moved him a little bit. Maybe would have played with the road being his background, right? Because you're actually in a great position where it's so dark that you have so much control. And you can make those cars part of that image with their motion, or you could, and you have the strobe to kind of mitigate that whole slow shutter thing that's going on there. So kind of just a thought, you know. And if you shot it really shallow, you're even in a better position, because then the fence basically goes away, you know. Seth really wants to make those space traveling star shots. Nah. But my thing, well, you know, is when I see this, it tells me what kind of light he was dealing with. It was pretty low in there, you know? And it looks a little closed down to me. It doesn't look that shallow. But imagine it was open up wide. You slow that shutter down, let those cars streak out. You know, you got white light and red light flying, right? And then, you know, you strobe them and you get that look, you know? It's just when you have something in the background, the first thing I'm going to wonder is, how does this pertain to my subject? Is this where they're from? If so, how are they connected to it? Is there something showing me where that background is? This could be St. Louis. This could be Long Island. This could be Florida. I don't know. It's 2.8 at 1.6 at ISO 200 on your Rebel. Okay. So I don't know if a Rebel goes down lower than 200, but you know, you probably could have gone a little bit slower if you wanted to bring it up a little bit, but I also don't know in that environment. Either way, I'm just saying that straight up the composition alone, this helps it out a bunch, you know. And I probably would have had him, if I'm going to show that much of the torso, maybe involved his arm in some way, or you got this, which is kind of nice as well. It's a straight up portrait, nice clean light. Oh, actually, now that I'm looking at it, it is pretty shallow, because I'm looking at this eye's soft over here, and he's actually sharp on the far cheek. So it's a little miss on the focus, not the biggest deal on earth, but it was shallow. Not a big deal. What about having him walk further down and get the fence blurred out? I mean, you could have had more of an angle where the fence is just like running down the entire way. But either way, I would have moved him away from the fence a little bit, try to get that bar at least above his head or out of the frame of the shot. Or I would have moved him completely away from all of that, you know? So it's really a question of what do we... we're going for a cleaner portrait as opposed to a contextual portrait, right? So now it's a question of what will make it cleaner. Does that make sense? Man. But the light on him, I think it's pretty solid. He looks all sculpted out. I think what I might have wanted to do, if it was me, if I was in a situation where I'm on a night street, and I had all one light, what I would probably do is look for watch, if I do this could be this right here, this could be a street light, this could be a car somewhere, this could be any type of light, a light from a building, whatever. And then I'm gonna go light, boom, and then I put in that light. And now look at my temple to the back of my head. You get a sense of my head. Look at this guy. Kind of just goes away a little bit, right? Just kind of It's just kind of like a floating face a little bit with a little bit of a suit jacket going on. But if you pay attention to the environment lights as another light source, since you're already shooting so slow, shutter speeds and stuff like that, think about that. And odds are it would be like tungsten or warm or another color, and it would add something as an environment while you're doing a neutral key light. Because remember, this could have been, look, these are cars behind me. Look at that, cars, woo, buildings, woo, street light of some kind. And then strobe. Makes sense, capiche? If he had the space, could you pull him from the background? If he had the space, you know. I probably would have used it. I probably would have turned him, I probably would have put his back to the fencing, maybe even had him lean on it or something, and then shot along it a little bit, you know, something like that. Does what I said make sense with the whole like finding an environmental light? I know that that's not always an option, but it's just something to think about when I only have one light, I try to think about what are the lights around, because I can always mix them in. So if I got a street light and I got city lights and then I got my strobe, you guys feel me? You get that? All right, I'm going to say thanks, Eric, as always, our ENG guy. Everyone give him a nice rain of emotes. Whew, man, I am... All right. You can't really let that stuff slide. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. Tony Campanelli, are you in here? I got Tony Campanelli over here with the Lord of the Rings trilogy going on over here. I changed the image to the bodybuilder. Do you not want me to do this, Tony? Tell me now. Because we can talk about this one. Going once, Tony. Going twice, Tony. Do you want this one? You guys have got to stop switching out images. Seriously, come on. This one? All right, let's talk about this one. He wants to do the bodybuilder. You see that? What he really did was he found a way to get two images on my channel. You see this scam artist? You see this? See this scam artist over here? All right, let's do this. All right, so bodybuilder. I don't even know what the hell that machine's called. I don't know what this exercise is called because look, dude, I'm a nerd. What am I gonna do? All right, so you have the matte look going to this because you have those opened up blacks. My first thing I'm going to tell you though is the framing feels a little off. I would have liked, I'm not even cropping. I would have liked to have gone lower, and I would have liked to have seen his knees kind of be my frame point, right? So then I have an idea of his form, and then I'm not dealing with this dead space up here, right? Now imagine this, but with a little bit of waist or something to give me the idea of his posturing, not just, you know, arms and eyes. Like, give me what's going on here, okay? Does that make sense, Tony? Let me see, Control L. So you can see here in the levels how there's like no blacks. Let's just see what happens when we give it a little bit of black. Now it's pretty deep. I think I just would have liked a little touch, nothing crazy, just a little touch, okay? And I can see that you have so you set up some lights. I got the strobe is sitting right here. I can see it, right? And it's predominantly ripping this way. My thing with fitness shots is a lot of people just throw hard rim lights from the back, and however they lay, and they kind of go with it. Here, I kind of, I would have liked to see a little bit better replacement, especially just to get rid of this reflection overall. But I think I think putting it higher so that he's not casting so much of a shadow of himself, because when you look at this, this is your lights creating this shadow on him. Not that it's the end of the world, but if you're going to get into shooting fitness portraits like that, keep in mind, just throwing lights around, you got to be a little bit more refined with your angles on them. So I probably would have lifted it a little higher and gotten those shadows a little, at least off his face. I don't want to see this. Does that make sense? As a lighting snob, okay? As a lighting snob, all right? You do want to keep it contrast because you want to see those veins popping. You want to see the muscle tension, which you have. You got it all over here. But I think overall, it's a nice job. I would have liked to have seen a shot just a little lower and maybe just give me a little bit more of those shadows like I did. So here's where you had it, right? And then here's where I put it. And then I would just want like some sort of bottom end of that frame to show me what the rest of his form is like, if that's fair. But I will say I do like your framing of the head here, like this, right? I think that's nice. You did a good job there. And I think going lower just would have made it even that much better. Yeah, I think the problem is that people think that shadows all over the place just equal drama. There's just always a way to clean it up just that much more. You know, I mean, you could see just from the exposure type on this side of the face compared to this side is that it just kind of like a little bit of like light thrown everywhere instead of like we're purposely sculpting them out. And if you have the ability to do so, like you have the ability to light somebody in this situation, like really sculpt it, really figure out how to do it. And if you had that light go higher, it would have hit that light higher. You could have made this light over. I'm showing my hands like I move this light over this way a little more, and then this rim light would have wrapped a little bit on this wrist. You would have had the light come down. You would have had this shadow cast a little bit different of under the chin a little more. It's actually this, I think, that's causing that shadow, but you know. Oh my God, I need to stand for a second. I'm sorry. I like that shot. People don't use coconut oil to make skin shine like sweat. Not sure if that would work here. I don't even know if I need sweat. I can tell the guy's working, man. He's not exactly matte. And I also don't think you always need this like this hyper level of sweat all the time to show fitness shots. I think it gets a little theatrical in my opinion. You know, a lot of times you just want to see someone's form. If he's really doing it, he would be crazy red, right? He would have the sweat going on. Different shot. That's of the workout. This feels more of like a fitness portrait to me. You know? But I like it. Nice shot, nice job overall. Is that cool, Tony? Are we good? We still friends? We still friends, Booby? I think just a little lower would have been like real nice. That all makes sense. I had 90 seconds to shoot this, and there was so much equipment in the way. Oh, you only had 90 seconds to shoot this, and there's so much equipment in the way. Welcome to shooting. Nah, I mean, yeah, it's always going to be something, and it is what it is. Not, you know, nice job. Just a little lower probably would have been the only thing that I really would have changed. Everything else is pretty fine. Let's give Tony a clapathon over there. All right. Now I'm all out of place because of you guys. All right. Oh, here we go. Another engagement-y looking thing. TD Media. You in here? TD Media? TD Media. Calling TD Media. All right, Thomas, let's do this. Let's open this up in the browser, hit save, and let's go to, and let me open this up. Okay, so clearly they like each other, you know, clearly, and we get it. Okay. There's this school of thought of, how can I put this? So you're either doing it in a studio and it's kind of an act, or it's genuine and it's of a moment. And when I can tell that this is pretty much more of a studio shot, it's hard for me to believe it being genuine. That said, not saying it isn't genuine, but I don't think the shot is all this. I don't need to see this light blitz in here. What I think your shot is them, dude. So get in there. I'm prone to getting way too close to my subjects because I believe I'll never get that close in reality. I believe that's more of an impact. Her closed eyes, that rock on her finger. I mean, this is a little harsh, this light over here, a little harsh, but whatever, I'll let it go. That's the shot. I mean, in fact, you know what? I'm even gonna murder this even harder. I'm gonna murder this even harder. Harder. I'm gonna murder this even harder. Watch this. Look at that. Now I'm in that moment with her. Now I'm stuck. It's like, I get it. Her eyes are closed. I get it that the weight is on that ring. The only thing that's weird on this is like, it's kind of like a hand out of nowhere kind of feeling. Little bit. Let's see if maybe a square shot. I don't want to cut off his ear really. Nah, too much. You don't matter, bro. You're just an ear. Shut up. I mean, not for nothing, based on this angle, he is just an ear. I don't know anything about this guy. I can't tell you what he looks like. He could be laughing for all I know. I don't know. He could be hating his life for all I know. I don't know. There's nothing telling me about him. But what is telling me something is all that weight that you can feel with her hanging on this dude. I just don't need the sense that it's in a studio. I just don't need it. I'm trying to see where I would put this. I kind of like that more. So to me, that's more of the shot, because I don't need to see that they booked a studio session with you and then you said, okay, hug them. Okay, now close your eyes. You love each other. Snuggle in there. Okay, stay. Hold it. I don't need to see that. I don't need to think that in my head. What I need to think about is how much she feels supported by this guy, how connected they are. You know, I think this light is a little hard, a little too much. In fact, I think it would have been better maybe not even being lit, because then what happens when you light ears from that angle is you get that red ear, you know, the blood vessels start getting illuminated. But other than that, I mean, can we crop out his ear and it'll look all right? Let me see. Get rid of this dude's ear. I mean, it's really about her. The shot is really, really about her. Nah, too much. I wish her eyes were open. I don't know. Why? So she can look lost or look directly at us like we shouldn't be there? I think let her be lost. Let her feel like she's just, they're doing the narwhal thing, right? The two narwhals that smash foreheads and connect their thoughts, like every wedding photographer makes every couple do. You know that wedding shot that's like, you know, okay, now put your heads together. Then they put a strobe behind them, right? Over and over again they do that, right? So this was just a moment. So I like the emotion. Yeah, cool. You like the emotion. Now do me a favor. Get me out of that studio. I don't want to think about that being in a studio. Look at the difference, boss. Look at the difference. Do I need all these shoulders and stuff? Not really. You know? Get me out of that studio. Let this moment just exist without me thinking about it being curated, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? Guys, I've been going for almost 2 hours. I'm not sure I'm going to be going too much longer. Yeah, so nice shot, nice moment. Watch that light on the right. I think it's a little bit too much. A little bit much. I mean, even with a fun little flare or whatever, but it's just like, it's so hard of a hit on him. I just think it's a little much. Little bit much, you know? If anything, it might have looked better as a hair light for her, maybe. I still think it's a lot, personally. All right, let's give Thomas a round of emotes for submitting. Nice job, guy. Nice job, buddy. Nice job, buddy. Nice job, guy. Nice job, buddy. Nice job, guy. Nice job, buddy. I am hopping over there in a week. Me and Joe McNally are going to take London by storm. Boy, man. All right. Steve Pezalush. Did I say that right? Pezalush. Did I say that right? Are you in the chat? This might be the last one I do for tonight, guys. This stream is running way too long, and I'm probably gonna have to crop out all the No, Steve Peluche, that's you? No, not you, Kefel. There he is. Did I say that right, Steven? Peluche. All right, open browser. I'm not Kefel, I'm not different Steven. Steve is fine. All right, save image as. I don't know, I'm losing my voice, guys. Losing my voice. All right, let me open this in the shop. Open this in the Photoshop. All right, cool. What just happened here? Why are there grids everywhere? All right, we've got the front bokeh, right? I mean, you got the opposite of what I'm doing over here, right? So, it's a nice image, but I think you're trying to find a way to just get those lights in there, even if you don't need them, right? So I'm wondering if we just gave her a little bit of a zhuzh. Dude, Photoshop sucks. I can't stand this. If I just gave her a little zhuzh. It's just, I feel like these lights are really fighting for attention with her. And then the light on her is just a little specular when you look at the quality of the light that's on her. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you use for a modifier. It looks like a small box to me, a relatively small soft box or something, or a panel, maybe a panel. I mean, we got the shadow casting the other way. Either way, I would want to see if, without battling for attention, is this enough, right? Is this enough? We don't want to cut off her arm like that, but does that give me more of a portrait? I was honestly trying to give it some magic feel. Well, it's just, think about it this way, right? Here, look at this shot, right? Even this little blurb here is making me go, what's going on there? Versus all that, right? So I'll tell you what might have helped was getting her a little bit closer to you, filling that frame a little more, and then engulfing her in them might make more sense than random three in a row. I mean, man, it's just so much, you know. Small softbox, yeah. It looks a little. It's not too diffused. If it was, we wouldn't see so much specularity. But I also think that we probably could have moved that box a little bit closer to camera, like angle-wise. But I am wondering if this is a little more successful for us, right? And if that's the case, what if it was this, but over here was your bouquet of whatever LED stuff that you wanted to put in there, you know? Like, I think we're fighting, there's just too much of this happening, and it's tough, you know? Sometimes we're just thinking like, this would look cool, this one thing, but does it have, it's almost like, here's a painting of an amazing landscape, but I really like this weird neon green color. It's a cool color. Let me just splash it on there. Bang. It's like, that color's cool and the landscape's beautiful, but do we really need them together? Kind of the same idea here. Soft LEDs, look, I get it. Look, I get it, you know? Soft LEDs, but if the lights were smaller, maybe, but I think the fact that they're literally stacked on top of each other is a lot. They are relatively big, but I think if they got smaller, they're going to be denser. Don't forget that they're not going to be so see-through-ish, so to speak. I think they would have had to been curated better. Does that make sense? Or if the top and the bottom LEDs weren't there, maybe the top and the bottom? Let me see. What do you mean, like we're just kind of... I get what you were going for, like a fairy nymph kind of thing. I just don't necessarily buy it on this frame, you know? I think it's a lot, man. There's actually just... Yeah, they are tiny. Yo, these right here, these are this big. These LEDs are this big. They're tiny. But they get huge from the bouquet, right? I think you just would have had to curate them a little better. If you wanted them in there, I think you would have had to have just found a way to curate them a little bit. Let me see what happens when we just give her a full length here. Like, you see how even doing that, these are just, it's tough, man. I don't know if you overdid it as much as it just needed refinement. Is that fair, Steven? Right? I think, oh my God, my leg's asleep. I think, sorry for the head cut off, guys, but I can't, I'm losing my leg here. I think you just would have had to have kind of curated them a little bit better to a point where they're just not doing their own thing and so present. I think when you make stuff like this so present, they're there and they're going to battle for attention, right? I mean, whoops, whoa, what just happened there? I mean, this is almost its own shot. You know, that's now maybe her crouched down and over here, like her head, like if her head was over here, maybe. Actually, let's try it. Let's try it. This one's for you, Steve. Hey, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if it selects her. All right, a little too much. Oh, that's good. Control. Come on. How do I do this again? Let's see. If we give it a little bit of arm there, sure, whatever. Great. All right, now we go back to this. Control C, Control V, pull it down here, hit OK. Now we do the crop over here. Is that better? She's got as much of a fighting chance against them now, maybe? Is that a little better if you think about it, right? I don't know. Or maybe she's got to have a fighting chance against them a little bit, right? Maybe she needs to be as much of the frame. Maybe she needs to be as much of the frame. Actually, that's not bad. You see how there's an even fight here now, Steven? Right? The weight is 50-50 in this frame now. Does that make sense? Man, this chair is going to kill me one day. If you guys don't hear from me in a few days, I broke my neck on this chair. Someone check my apartment, okay? Jeez. How does this look to you guys? I even like the idea of someone else behind her a little bit. It's kind of cool. Yeah, right? You like that better because she's got a chance here. She's got a little bit of a fighting chance here as opposed to what we had before. So this versus this. Right? This. And of course, pose her and all that other stuff. Yeah, well, when I broke my back, that was scary. That was a wide awake nightmare. And I broke that disc in my back from that Halloween workshop. That's how hard we went on that Halloween workshop. So when you guys have elements that are strong in an image or strong in a frame rather, you got to find a balance point of their presence and of their weight. So here we basically gave the size, look at the size of this bouquet, right? Wife is bucking me. Be good, Richard. Thanks for hanging out. I forgot what I was gonna say. The size of this triple stack here matches the amount of space she's taking up, right? Gives her a fighting chance. Now imagine we moved her hand a little bit. Imagine she started looking a little bit closer to lens, you know? Imagine if that light was just a little underexposed, a little less exposure, right? Get that skin to saturate a little more. Can I do that actually? Can Photoshop let me do that? Control L. Can I drop her down a little bit? So she's not so like lit. You know, a little bit more, you know? And I'll throw another wrench at you. What if you took that strobe and you warmed it up a little bit? Quarter CTO gel. Maybe. Just to make it look like the lights in the space are acting as light sources for her as well. Is this going too far? You tell me. Makes sense? You know what it is? I can't bring myself to buy a new chair. I know I have to use this chair every day, but I got lenses I'm looking for funds on. I got lights I got to get funds on. I know next year I need one more camera body. I got to put funds in for that. It's killing me. So, that said, I think warming up the strobe might have helped a little bit. It also would take away some of those like specular highlights tones. It would match her skin tone a little bit. It wouldn't look so contrast and like popish, you know? Oh my gosh. Is it 9 o'clock? Oh my gosh. We've been going a while, huh? I just wanted to keep this channel alive because I didn't have anything to post this week because I was so busy with all the craziness. Photography is forever a cycle of being broke. You know, you'd hope that one day it pays off, right? You know, but do one more. You guys, I could always keep saying do one more. I just did 2 hours, guys, for free. Okay? Like, I think I gotta, I'm sorry, buddy. I gotta, and I'm gonna be live tomorrow. Like, I gotta call it. Maybe I'll pick this up on another, man, I can't even think. Another stream. But I'm gonna call it there, guys. Listen, one day I'll stop buying something. You really do buy a lot. I'll say that. I see you in Adorama all the time picking up stuff. But every time you buy something, I see you posting like 6 million images and a few hours later. So you're one of those guys that actually uses it. So there's that. Listen, guys, think. There's always more. There's always a little deeper. There's always that next. Step back. Sometimes take a breath, step back and look at what you're shooting and what is making sense. Try to think of it as someone who is not there. I think that's one of the biggest keys you could take is someone who's not where you are with what's in front of your face and your lens is who is going to be viewing your images. And if that's the case, try to make it make sense for them. Remember, what do we always say? This is a language, and every choice that we make in that frame is a word in a sentence, and it's got to make sense. It's got to be coherent. So, you know, just try to always remember that someone who's looking at that frame isn't where you are right now, does not know that context or what happened that day. That image has to stand on its own, and you'll be a lot happier with the way people view and connect with your images. I promise you that. Is this all fair? Any last questions? Now's the time, guys. Last questions. Ask me anything. It's up to you guys. No one's going to watch this whole thing back. It's so long, dude. It's so long, dude. But, no, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Kathy, Brad, Israel, Marcus, Chuck, the Richards, the Patricks, the Stevens, the Erics, the Chucks. I appreciate it. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. I'm trying to get to 30K. We're so close. Few hundred more. We're at 30,000. We are at over 800 members in our Discord. So that's all you guys. And thank you guys for keeping the Discord super... My Buy Me a Coffee link doesn't work. Are you sure? Well, that sucks. My Buy Me a Coffee link doesn't work. Is that what you're going to tell me right now? Let me take a look. If that's the case, then I've just been throwing money out the window. No, I was kidding. It is what it is. I mean, I don't do this as like to panhandle, but Buy Me a Coffee. 404 does not exist. Oh my God, I know why that is too. Oh, I know why that is. I know exactly why that is. Hang on. I'm going to fix it right now. Because it copy and pasted. Oh, that's so stupid. All right. It should work now. If you just have to put last X witness after the URL. I don't know. Whatever. I suck at this stuff. I suck at making any of this stuff benefit myself. King Garcia, if you don't know King Garcia, he was in my Comic-Con recap video. I really like that video. I hope you guys had fun watching it. It was crazy making it. King Garcia is one of the Comic-Con cosplay photographers. Check out the Comic-Con video on this channel. It's only like 2 videos ago. Changed to buy me a lens. I know, right? Well, I think the next lens I buy is going to be the Nikon 135 Plena. And it is a little priced up. So I am not jumping out to go get it. And I do know that next year, depending on what it is, I'm going to have to invest into a Z6 III because if it's what I think it's going to be, it's basically what I want at my mid-range camera. So we'll see what that is, you know. All right, guys, I am going to go die now. I'm probably going to be live tomorrow on Adorama's Instagram in the morning. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing yet. I'll figure it out when I wake up, if I even go to sleep. But I'll see you on Adorama's Instagram. If you're new here, hit subscribe and the bell to get notified when I put more videos. Don't forget to follow me on all the social, Last X Witness on everything. Follow my work on Instagram, yell at me on Twitter. And hit subscribe here, please, if you're new. I would really appreciate it. And join the Discord. That would be great. And I don't know. I guess that's kind of it. I have the worst dismount, too. I didn't even think about dismounting. Anyway, go shoot. Enjoy it. Just put some more thought into it. I think it'd be better off. All right, guys. Have a good night, guys. Later.